Welcome to the High-Tech Investments News Report for week 34. The news report covers some of the many investments projects High-Tech Investments is currently involved in so you can follow our progress. We hope you will enjoy this news feed and look forward to your comments and remarks.
Hi, Bo here and welcome back to this week's news report where once again it is time to have a look back, see what has happened in the Forex market in the past week. And I can tell you already now that for me, it looks pretty much like a Forex roller coaster in here. Some of the signals are going up, some are going down, some are making a bit of money, some are making a lot more, and then other ones are pretty much stagnating. It is very, very difficult to figure out here at the moment. So we're going to go through all of it and show you here again today, as usual, exactly how our EAs are doing. We're also going to cover some video that we released in the past week. That is the one you see on the screen here, where we are basically looking into different EAs, which ones are actually making the best money overall. And obviously, we're also going to show you how you can create a steady income over time on all these different EAs that we're going to talk about here today. And then from the best ones, you can basically go ahead and link up to the copy link service for Expert Forex. So I'm going to give you the latest and greatest Excel also for which ones are the top ones in here to look out for this particular week. Now we're going to start off with the Wave Liberator for week 34 in here. And the numbers, they are actually not looking that good. As you can see, the US Japanese is on top with $31, 3.1%, which is not too bad. But then very, very quickly it goes down with New Zealand USD at $26, 2.6%. And overall, the top 5 EA portfolio in here only created $102 or 2%. So the Wave Liberator is definitely not doing so well this particular week. We can still see floating profit and loss. It actually went up here on Friday. We had quite a bit of volatility due to some news again out of US that basically put in the extra profit and loss, so into a negative spiral in here. We can see Monday morning that some of this has been recovered again, so we'll have to see how the rest of the week goes with this. We have a history of 734 days, so definitely we know it's working, but we need to see some better numbers in here. And if we look at the bottom of the screen, 164 is all that this particular portfolio did. It has been stagnating for a while. 186, it was coming out of that one. If you go back to end of July, it was actually at 250, so that looked pretty okay. But if you have a look at basically May 300, we have June, we also have 3 and even 400s in here, so it was doing quite well. Even early July, 265, and then it has actually dropped since then. So it doesn't look so good at the moment, so at least for the Wave Liberator. For the RSI Liberator, it's a bit different. That was actually down last week. This week it's up. Also here, the US Japanese currency is strong with $27 or 2.7%, followed by the Aussie Swiss francs at $24 and 2.4%. So overall, this portfolio comes in at $108 and 2.2%. And that is actually a bit of an improvement overall. So for this particular portfolio here, also the floating profit or loss also slightly increased in the past week, mostly on Friday here, like all the other ones. History of 503 days shows that this particular EA is working well. And when we look at the numbers for last week, 229, that is the best until basically we go all the way back to early July, 232. Since then, it has been down. Now it's up this particular week. So you can see the variance in between the Wave Liberator and the RSI. They are certainly not in sync here at the moment. The same with the Hedge EA. That one also has picked up slightly again. So this particular one, it's the Aussie Swiss francs at $29 or 2.9%, which is on top. So about 11-12% on a monthly basis at the moment, which is not too bad. And then at the bottom, we have the CAD Swiss francs, only $11, 1.1%. But that particular portfolio here for the top 5 EAs still created $116 or 2.3%. So that is reasonable. And also again, floating profit or loss, well, that has been high all the time. We have a history of 217 days in here. We can see the curve is running, but again, it is not running as it should be. We are having a look at the last couple of weeks. You can see was below 100. So for the past 3 weeks, this week it is actually up. So again, the roller coaster ride in here, at least at the moment, goes up 134. And we have to go almost a month back in here from the 20th of July to see anything more. You can see there is a few dips before that, but overall we have actually managed a couple of hundred. Normally should be the average. Also the simple grid trading EA for week 34. It looks good in here with the Great British Pounds, New Zealand at $64 and 6.4%. And then followed down by the Aussie USD at $55 or 5.5%. So it's some big and heavy numbers on the percentage side again. And the total for this particular portfolio also is $246 or 4.9%. So that is definitely a very good number overall. We can see the floating profit or loss still not too bad with minus 4,000 versus how much close profit we have of more than 6,000, and with a history of 130 days, it looks to be very much on the way to big things, except for the monthly returns. For the back testing, we can only get somewhere around 15-20%, but in real life trading, it looks like 7.5 is actually all we can do at the moment. So unless we have to increase the lot size from it. If we have a look, it looked like last week things were actually going quite well, 325. Then we have another dip this particular week in here down to 251. And you can see the week prior to that, 137. So all of it is definitely a bit of a roller coaster ride at the moment, where 1 week we're up and the next week we are down. And that's why we also launched this particular video last week, the EA Showdown. So this actually takes a range of our EAs in here, and we look at them not just for a week, not just for a month, but basically from 1st of January to end of June. So you get an entire 6 months where we basically look at every single one. We know that we have some accounts that are 22, other ones are 16. So what we did with this particular video in here, if you haven't seen it yet, then I'll make sure there's a link for the description below. But we take the 8 best from all of them and then compare them overall and then declare a winner. And you can obviously see in this particular video which one is the winner. In the meantime, let's go to the lucky trader for week 34. Euro USD is on top here with $36 and 3.6%. And then the bottom one is the Aussie New Zealand, only $17, 1.7%. Overall, the portfolio doesn't look too bad when you compare it to the other ones, apart from the simple grid trader, of course, which is in a league of its own, $122, 2.4%. So that is not too bad for the lucky trader for that particular week in here. And when we have a look at the overall portfolio, we can see we're getting close to a history of 300 days. So that will be next week, 295 so far. Trade wins are still high with 69.5, so that's good. But then when we have a look at the numbers for this particular week, 173, it is almost same level as last week, 180. And the weeks before it was actually lower. So again, in here, we are somewhere in the middle. So we're in a bit of a limbo, not up, not down. We'll have to see what happens. But we have to go back to all the way to end of June here to find some really good numbers of 520 coming in. We would like to see that again. Obviously, we know that's not going to happen every single week or every single month, but at least we will have some bit of a higher results, even though we haven't changed anything overall for the trading strategies for this, then it still continues to be a bit flat. Flat is obviously not what we're discussing now, because the link to success accounts in here, we have some of the best ones, and as usual we try to put them in order. So floating profit and loss, we don't want to see any more than 300. The biggest one you have is 250. I believe this is the simple grid trader, minus 262. So the drawdown is still well under control. And then we also have return on total drawdown. We changed that from plus 200 down to 100. And you can even go lower on that, where you will still have some good numbers, but we are trying just to pick the top ones here for you. Total negative weeks in the last 8, we don't want to see any more than 800. So again, they are quite good, they are quite low overall. And then we sort them basically from almost 0, as you can see here, because this is equity. So it has been trading, but the equity ended up in the same week, pretty much even Steven. And then the top one here is 1K link 173C, and that is 29% for this particular week. So you have a couple of good links in here where you can make plenty of money, and they have extremely low drawdown. So this is what we had for you in this week's news report. As you can see, it is definitely a bit of a roller coaster with our EAs here at the moment. What went well last week all of a sudden is down this week. What was actually weak last week now showing improved strength this particular week in here. It is very difficult to see exactly if we are coming out of the summer vacation and the Forex market is coming back to life, because overall the profit is still below where we expect it to be. Definitely when we came into June and early July, then the profits was there. Since then it has gone away, and we're hoping it's going to come back very, very soon. There is some volatility in the market, but clearly the EAs is not really picking it up at the moment. So stay tuned, and next week I'll go through all the numbers once again to see exactly where we are, positive or negative. So until then, I hope to see you on one of my other videos. Bye-bye.
I hope you enjoyed our news report. So please don't forget to like and add your comment below, as we would love to get your feedback. But before you go, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to keep the notification bell turned on. That way, you will never miss any of our future videos. We hope to see you back on this channel very soon.